Good morning. Okay, I'm really excited. I have Dr. Marla Christianson on today. We're going to have a really great conversation. We're just going to be talking about movement and what people can be doing right now and just trying to offer some support. So welcome, Dr. Marla. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, Dr. Marla Christianson. She is the owner of Movement Evolution. She just changed their name, normally known as Christian Chiropractics. And she is a movement enthusiast. She also is a mom of 2 meatballs, and that's what she wrote in her bio. And she owns the CrossFit gym in Chestermere. So, yeah, Marla, so we have a lot of conversations a lot about.
We do.
Yeah, we do. Just about random things. But mostly, a lot of times it comes back to mindset. So can you elaborate for people that are watching this on really like right now, what people can do as far as mindset to help improve the likelihood of them moving and getting active, but not overdoing it?
Yes. So to take that back just a smidge, why mindset now?
Hmm.
Mostly because we've been self-isolated, quarantined for, are we on week 7? Yeah. And so I think for a lot of people, it was difficult because the routine was gone. So how do I continue or get started? Maybe some people are getting started on a health and wellness journey, or how do they continue with their health and wellness journey when the routine is gone and normal is not normal anymore? And it does come down to mindset and starting to establish some of those routines again. Throughout this last 6 weeks, some of the most important things that I can take back from what people have called and said and told me was they're having a hard time sleeping. A lot of that has to do with they didn't go to bed at the same time as they always do. Then they sleep in, and then the day sort of gets away from them and it snowballs, and it ends up they didn't get their workout in, whatever that was supposed to look like, or maybe they were going to walk the dog and they never did, and their kids had more things to do than what they anticipated. And so one of the things I would say in this time is trying to create some, maybe it's not the same routine as it was before, but establish a routine.
Yeah.
A routine of going to bed at a decent time. Their circadian rhythm is still very important. We need to listen to it. We need to get enough sleep, and getting up with intention and discipline is what I would say. So some people were enjoying the sleep in, and I'm not saying you need to get up at the crack of dawn. If you were a 5:15 a.m. or before and you don't need to be right now, that's okay. But
Absolutely.
Still get up at a set time and allow time in the morning to, like I said, get up with intention and discipline so that your rest of your day goes smoothly. Because that's what I'm hearing from a lot of people, is just like the day gets away from them.
Yeah.
They can't catch up. It has snowballed. And then by the end of the day, they're exhausted, they're tired, they're emotional, and they just want it to go back to normal. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that that's
Yeah.
going to happen. And so the shift is, I need to create a new normal. I need to do healthy habits. What are those? And prioritize. So for the people who were, taking a little extra siesta in the morning and just kind of waking up whenever they wake up and then panicking and rushing, was the 15 minutes worth it in the morning of laying in bed?
Yeah.
It feels good at the time, don't get me wrong, but would it have been better to just, like I said, get up and get the day rolling and be in control for the rest of the day rather than it snowball?
And I think that can be so helpful for moms, because like with having kids home all the time, to have some like space in the morning just to think about what the day is gonna look like. Have a cup of coffee if that's what you need to do. Like have
Yeah.
like get some movement in,
This,
and it kind of creates that space and that time and that routine. I love that. I think that's so
yeah.
important. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
like I said, I used to do the workout at 5, so I used to have to get up earlier than that to get everything in. I don't need to do that anymore. So I don't set my alarm for 5 anymore. My routine has changed, but
Yeah.
I still now set the alarm and don't hit the snooze button because you basically are just saying, I'm going to procrastinate. The first thing I'm going to do today is procrastinate.
Sure.
And I'm not sure that that's the way we want to start our day. So, um, so yeah, there's number one, I would say, get back to
Absolutely.
start a new routine. Um, in terms of other things, when it comes to mindset right now, I think, I think when there's uncertainty, um, we tend to feel anxious and, um, making a time or that you can recognize the things in your life to be grateful for is
Yeah.
super important when it comes to mindset. So for me, lots of people do this right in the morning and they journal it. I can honestly say I like to do that at the dog park. When I'm walking my dog, and I just in my head think of all of the things that I'm grateful for, and that is helpful for me to then look for um, opportunities. What's the opportunity that we're seeing um, in the last 7 weeks when you're self isolated and things that you're used to have been taken away from you?
Mhm.
Is there opportunities in this though?
Yeah.
And what are they? And
Yeah.
and and we go from there. And if anything, maybe you don't, maybe you're not ready to see, or your perspective, you're not seeing opportunities right in front of you. Sometimes they're hard to see.
Mhm.
If anything, maybe the opportunity here is that we come out better being able to cope with adversity. Maybe that's the opportunity, right?
Resilience. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, but just taking those, those little tidbits and just trying to incorporate them
No,
daily,
that's so
consistently.
great. And I mean, and like we were talking about too, like it doesn't always happen right away. Like sometimes it's taking people different rates, or some people just like jumped right into it and were like out of the gate doing great. And other times, like some people, it took a little bit longer to kind of establish that routine, or and just kind of like giving each person that space. But I like how you said, like just kind of choosing, okay, yeah, I used to get up at 5:15 or 5 o'clock, and I don't have to do that anymore, but I'm still going to set the alarm at say 6, because that's going to give me half an hour before my kids get up, just to have that time. So let's switch into the movement piece a little bit. Now, we were kind of talking before this about that now might not be the time to be taking on grandeur challenges, or not saying that we shouldn't be moving and we should be doing cool things, and if someone's at that space, then go for it. But can you talk about how we were talking about more is not always necessarily better, and especially maybe right now?
Yeah. So um, the background that I, come from in is that people are always looking to better, faster, stronger,
Mhm.
and so now that we've taken um, their environment sort of away from a lot of my people, they have to now do at home
Mhm.
movement and workouts. And there was a lot of, um, I miss heavy lifting. I miss doing Olympic lifting. Um, I miss doing muscle ups and stuff at the gym, or working on those big goals that they had set. And for me, I think because my background is that I used to be a gymnast and a gymnastics coach, my number one right out of the gates was, this is a fantastic time to take this back to the foundation of all of those movements
Yeah.
and get really good and really strong at those. And then when we come back to the gym, we're going to start a little bit with some get your hands back on a barbell. But
Exactly.
no, are we going to go lift all the weight? No, it's now time to work on that technique, because we should have this really cool strength component now, this
Mhm.
foundational strength. So, for example, push-ups. Like, there's so many people who it's not done correctly. It
Mhm.
can be injurious if it's not done correctly. And
Absolutely.
so I was like, this is so great, because we finally get to tweak these little movements and make sure that we're doing those really, really well, so that when we start to make progress towards more complex movements,
Yeah.
all the foundation is there. And I was so excited, and everyone's like, that's not exciting. And I'm like, yes, it is exciting.
Yeah.
And
But
number
like
two,
you said, like you work on the foundation, everything else is going to get better.
yeah, but it's not super fun to do as a group. When you go into the gym, just working on the technique of push-ups, they're like,
Mhm.
boring, right? They want to do
I feel
get
for
the
that.
music going, and it's like, okay, but that's great when we get back there, but right now
Yeah.
let's take this opportunity to really to to redo those basics. And then
Um,
I love that.
yeah. That's real life right now,
That's real
right?
life. That's, yeah. Number
um, yeah,
two, I would say, like, mobility, because this is the crossover between being a
mhm,
chiropractor
exactly.
and a gym owner slash coach in the gym, is that most people's limitations in movement is based on mobility and not strength. So they say, oh, I can't overhead squat. I just can't lift heavy weight over my head. It's not because you're not strong. It's typically because your mobility is lacking. And so I was like, again, what a great opportunity to work on mobility. This is fantastic. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
that's what we've been doing, both at the gym and then with some of my practice members, who I had FaceTime with, or Zoom, or telehealth appointments with. It was all about healthy lifestyle habits and mobility. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay,
Yeah.
give me, sorry, 1 second.
Yep.
Okay, bud, you gotta go with that. Hey, Code, can you grab Lucas because he's in here? So Marla, so what about someone that is maybe a little bit nervous, or like, say they are wanting to do some movement, or they are just kind of just starting out? Like, what can we offer them? Like, what can you offer them for like encouragement or support, or just, you know, because some people don't think that, just going for a walk is beneficial, or, and I think that right now it's, people can get out for walks, it's free, and they're still going to do a lot of great, like, it's so beneficial for them right now, for mental health, for overall wellness. Like, so what can you say to the people that maybe aren't avid gym members, or people that are just wanting to kind of get started into including movement into their life?
Yeah. Um, well, there's all movement. So going, like, all of those things, going for walks, doing some stretching, doing some yoga. There's lots of these sort of things that you have access to all the things right now in
Yeah.
terms of programming.
Yeah.
If you are still unsure or need guidance, that's where finding a coach that fits is really, really important. And so that's one thing that you just can't, you know, just get over the internet. You can get lots of programming and know what to do, but building that trust factor with a coach, you need to have a connection there. Um, and so for those people who are a little bit apprehensive about getting started, I think finding a person that they trust to help guide them is super important,
Yeah.
obviously.
Especially if
Um,
they're like worried about getting injured or anything like that, especially if they're starting out and they haven't done a lot of strength training before, they haven't done yoga
Absolutely.
before. And it's great. Like, online yoga is amazing and I love it. But for people that understand movement and know their body, but someone getting started at home, it might be beneficial to be working with someone,
Yeah, absolutely. Because maybe they don't know, like, how many times should I be doing this a week? Or, and all of those things, it can be very dependent on your situation and things
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
I have those people in my life, Julie, and then I have another stream of people who have been injured and want to get back to. So we've done rehabilitative exercises, and now they're wanting to get back to their normal activity or whatever they love to do, which
Yeah.
is what I encourage people to do.
Yeah.
Do what you love to do, but they're a little bit apprehensive about going back to that. Then you need again, to find someone that you trust. So again, for me, I'm a doctor of chiropractic, so I see a lot of these people, and I help them along the way, or we connect you with a coach, and the programming for those people who have been injured and then are giving them their wings and saying, let's get you back to activity. The programming is done by me and can be delivered by me or a coach.
Yeah. And you can do that all online, right?
They can do it online, especially right now. We're starting to bring out all of this stuff online. And then when we can get back to one-on-one or small group, we'll offer that as well. But it's just important to have the guidance and to know. But at the same time, I need to stress that going for the walk is still amazing exercise and activity for different reasons. But even high intensity exercisers, competitive amateur exercisers, going for the walk and enjoying it and is super important. We're moving our bodies, it's in a different way. All of that is helpful for health. And that's what the goal is.
Yeah.
Right?
So we were having kind of a conversation about some of the research that's out there. Marla and I like to kind of just chit chat about different research and different
Right?
topics, and
We're just nerds. We're
yeah,
complete
we like
little
to
nerds.
and like when I used to work with athletes for strength and conditioning, and even just when we have people that are really stressed out or
Mhm.
and have that more is always better mentality, and or even just right now, that maybe because some people everybody's in such a different situation right now. Some people have more support than others. If someone is really stressed out or is it's because we always are told to use exercise as stress relief, but when can that, and even with moms too, right? So I have kind of a two-part question. So we have some moms that are home and they're home with their kids and they're trying to find how they can incorporate movement right now because their life looks really different. And then we have another piece of individuals where we know a lot of them, and that are maybe pretty intense exercisers, right? Athletes, things like that. But what if they're really, really stressed out? Should they be continuing to do that, like high intensity stuff, that really big volume? Like, what's your thoughts on those two groups? So like, what would you say to like the moms that are trying to find that time in their day? And then also, all this research that we're seeing on, when we have athletes that are under high stress, what kind of stuff can they be doing?
Let's start with moms.
Yeah, because we see a lot of moms.
That's the bulk, right? So I think that for moms, if you can carve out a little bit of time in your day to do some movement and exercise, whatever that looks like, then do it. It's important to have not just for the movement and the exercise, but to give yourself, it's almost a gift in the day to say, I'm going to take this 40 minutes or whatever it is, and I'm going to just concentrate on me for a little bit.
Yeah.
so that I can better serve everyone around me. Um, and it doesn't necessarily mean that we have to go out and go hard. It might mean that it looks like I'm going to do some stretching, I'm going to do some foam rolling, I'm going to go for a walk. Okay.
Absolutely.
Also believe that variety in movement. So maybe we do, um, some cardio, high intensity something on one day. And then the next day we're like, I don't feel like doing that. I'm going to stretch it out today.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's completely okay to be doing that. It's not getting you to your goals. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some people
Absolutely.
think you have to do
Yeah.
and go for it hard every single day, and that's not necessarily
Totally.
true. And if you're doing that, you might actually be
Yeah.
plateauing and not hitting your goals.
Yeah. And the nervous system might
So
freak out.
be be grant yourself that gift of giving yourself some time.
Mhm.
You will see often, if you follow my Instagram page, that sometimes my time gets taken away from me and I end up having to work out with my children,
Mhm. Yeah.
enjoy it, love it, um, be happy that your children are watching you do great things, and take that time to be the role model at the time and just spend the time with your kids. Don't fight it, just
Yeah.
embrace it.
Yeah.
Um, you're doing good things. Moms and stress. So specifically, we'll talk a little bit about that cortisol level that we were talking about. We had this conversation before.
Mhm.
This, for me, this happened right after I had my second baby, and I wanted to, or I thought I should shed baby weight because that is what people talk about. I wanted to get back to my pre-baby
Right?
body. Is that what they call it?
I think that's what that. That's the token term.
Yes. That doesn't exist. Let's put that out there.
Yeah.
You've got a new body that does new things and can be better than it was before. So let's put that out there. It's new and it's better. And sometimes it looks different, and maybe you have to struggle with that a little bit. But I guarantee you, in terms of
Hmm.
what you can endure
Yeah.
being a mom,
Yeah.
way better, way
Yeah.
better.
Oh yeah. The resilience goes way up.
But so like I said, this is my personal kind of story, is that I was, after baby number 2, wanting to kind of shed the baby weight. And the thing at that time was like fasting cardio. Get up in the morning, get on that treadmill, and just run your little heart out. Okay, so number 1, I hate running. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. I've changed my mindset. I hate running on a treadmill though.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I like going outside. I
Yeah.
like looking at people's houses, but
Yeah.
I was getting up like the crack of dawn and running my heart out on the treadmill
With 2 kids.
with barely any sleep, because it's broken sleep. You're nursing, you're doing all, but I still was like, nope, I'm gonna do it. It's gonna make me feel good. And I wasn't seeing any results. Shocking, because my whole body was like, what are you doing to me? Stop doing that. And I saw a nutritionist that I used to work with. Um, and she said to me, so number 1, you can't get up with no sleep and just run your little heart out on the treadmill.
Mhm.
You need to stop doing that. You need to take this down a step back and embrace this time, and what your body's doing is a wonderful thing as you feed and nurture your children. And you need to, again, get back to basics. Let's work on really, really minimal movement, actually, core stability, and moving your thoracic spine. Like, let's do those things and not worry about the other things. The other things, you've got a whole lifetime to build.
Absolutely.
But you don't, when you just have 2 babies, you don't need to do it right now. And also, in terms of cortisol level, she also told me you need to stop stepping on the scale. So that was a really interesting one for me because I used to think that that number really meant something. And so she said, every time you do that and you look at the number and you're disappointed,
Yeah.
again, you have now adrenal glands just went and you're just bathing in cortisol because you've been working so hard
Mhm.
and now you're disappointed. And she said, don't do that anymore. Don't do it anymore. So that was, well, Bryn's now 7 and I adopted those things right away. So I hadn't stepped on a scale for a long, long time. I judged how I felt by how I felt and how my clothes fit and, all of those good things. How I like to measure things in terms of how my body functions and how I feel that way. But you have to sort of take those numbers out and really be in tune with that. So in terms of cortisol, stress, and our more intense athletes, we need to look for signs of overtraining, right? So if they're displaying signs of overtraining, fatigue, inability to sleep,
Like not
consuming
what's worked out.
ridiculous amounts of caffeine,
Yeah.
and still being really fatigued,
Yeah.
mental fog, all of those things, if they're displaying those things, then we need to relook at the training that they're doing and adjust that accordingly.
Yeah. Weird. Awesome. No, that's great. So I work with no, that then we're not I already did that. Okay, so we're gonna just finish up with 2 things. So we're going to I just want to talk about your experience a little bit with because you run a practice and you run a gym, and so you're probably one of the most ambitious people I know. So
Thank
now
you.
how did this impact you, and how did like what was your experience with it like? Because we both talk about a lot the whole Instagram highlight reel, and I think it is good, like we were talking about before. It is good because we need to take those times. Say someone does go on a big bike ride with their kids, like awesome, like put that on
Good
your
for
Instagram,
you.
right? Like good for you, and that is awesome. But also for the people watching it, know that that wasn't their entire day, right?
Yes.
Like
No one no one posts the low reel.
yeah,
And no, well, I mean, don't get me, actually, that's not
yeah.
true. I have 2 friends,
Yeah.
you post the low reel or the real reel,
Real, which is kind of refreshing
and
sometimes.
I always applaud them because I'm like,
Yeah,
that made me feel really
yeah,
normal and
yeah. I was like,
really
okay,
great.
normalized life right now for me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's just so important to remember that, because I talk to so many women. They're like, but I see all these moms doing all these things. I'm like, that day you saw 2 pictures and they did one cool activity with their kid and whatever, but you didn't see all the little chunks in between. And sometimes we get to see those from the wonderful people that share it with us that make me so happy. Um, but, but like, some days we knock it out of the park, and other days we're like, well, they're alive, so that's a win. Um,
Right. There's
and
that.
right, so there's that. So can you tell us about your like maybe your journey with having to close your practice and close your gym,
Mm.
and then like maybe some struggles that you had at the beginning, and then how maybe it led because you tuned into what was going on and you like kind of sat back with it, that maybe it spurred on some creativity. So maybe you can elaborate
Yeah.
a little bit on that stuff.
Yeah. My pandemic isolation, it was an interesting ride for me. So initially on March 17th, I closed both practices. So I closed the gym and then I closed my chiropractic massage therapy practice. And I think when I closed them, um, so I think in the back of my mind, I thought this was just going to be a couple of weeks. And if we closed them, I closed it a little bit early. I wasn't quite mandated yet. I just felt like we needed to protect the public. And so I actually thought if we all did that, we would kind of be out of this in, a couple weeks. And in that couple of weeks, I would get some stuff done, right? I would implement some new programs, and I would work hard at the admin side of both businesses to get us back up and running, and it would be great. This would be great. I realized about a couple of days in of me now being a stay-at-home mom and a homeschooler, which we hadn't actually started homeschooling yet, so I shouldn't say that, but I was printing off math sheets, and I was doing all those great things because I was like, well, you guys have to still learn, and we're going to do all these great things in these 2 weeks. I'm going to be stellar mom, and I'm going to be stellar business person who does all of these new things. I'm going to do all of this in 2 weeks. It's going to be so great. So about day 3 or 4 of that, and I was like, well, what's happening? My routine was not the same. And I have all the respect for stay-at-home moms in the world. I always have. My mom was a stay-at-home mom of 5 kids. Yeah. So I've got all the respect for stay-at-home moms, but boy, oh boy, do I ever have it now, like after being, and I love my kids. My kids are great, but it's hard. That's a hard job. And so I then realized as I was trying to make busy work in those first 3 or 4 or 5 days of just being busy, because I'm so used to being busy.
Yeah.
And I wasn't getting anywhere, and I'm spinning wheels. All I'm doing is spinning wheels. And then I realized a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of panic struck a little bit. And I was kind of down and out for a couple of days, where my husband, who's now working from home full time, was very gracious and kind of allowed me to not do much of anything. I binge watched some Netflix, which, if you know me, I don't really watch
No.
TV. I didn't know what to do, and I felt this is like the real truth. I felt like I had this really great life before that I was every day grateful for. I had this really great job. I was always very thankful for the opportunities I had taken in my life. I had this really great opportunity to own a CrossFit gym and be surrounded by a really great group of people each and every day. And in one day it was gone. And I had worked for years to have those things. And in one day it was gone. And that set in for me. And this new world of online stuff, I'm a hands-on person, practitioner, face-to-face. Where do I fit in this world? I had never done a Zoom call.
Yeah.
This was not something I wanted to ever be good at, was technology. And I had a couple of really hard days where I was really resentful. This is the cold hard truth.
That's good though. This is real. Good.
I was really, really resentful that I had worked really hard, and I had been thankful for all the things that I had, and I loved it. And I honestly loved my busy life, loved it. And it was all taken away in one day, yet there's teenagers playing Minecraft on YouTube who still had jobs. And I was like, what happened? Like, why did that happen? And I was, of course, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a small business owner, we're problem solvers. So immediately I'm trying to solve all these how can I deliver what I'm good at in this new world? And I just laid down for 2 days and said, I'm not doing that right now. So I took some time, and then I had to take a step back and say, Marla, what's really important? What's really important to you? So the health and wellness of my family and myself was first and foremost. So I had to set those priorities again. Are my children getting good food, which they do because their dad is an amazing cook?
Really?
Um, I'm the exercise person, so am I making sure that they're taken care of in that department? Are we moving them the way I want them to move each and every day? And am I doing that for myself? Am I giving that to myself? And I started there. So I started to kind of get out of my little rut. But I've never been in a rut like that ever in my whole life. I've always had a solution. Right now, let's do this.
Yeah.
And for it took me a little while. I think my message as I tell you in the world all this, it's okay.
Mhm.
It's completely okay to lay down and take the rest,
Yeah.
and then there's a light where you say, now I need to look at the priorities and what I'm going to do. And maybe some of that is selfish. Maybe what am I going to do for me right now? Do it. Do it, do it, do it. And then fast forward 5 weeks later, I'm back to work.
Yay! She opened her doors for anyone who doesn't know. Book
I'm
us
back to
in.
work as of yesterday. I've got a new name for the business. Like, fast forward, because I did start to rebuild sort of that mentality of, okay, but it was little pieces at a time of
Yeah.
like, okay, today we're going to do this. Oh, but the kids kind of wanted to do an 8K bike ride. Okay, that was more important
Yeah,
to do that.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was my journey through
That is,
isolation.
thank you for sharing and being real, because I think that people need to hear that, especially coming from someone like you know, that like, people did have challenges and they're willing to share it. But then also the piece of like, this is how I got back up. And I didn't do it. You weren't like overnight, like, okay, and now I'm going to rebrand my company. You're like, okay, what is the thing I can do today? Okay, I'm going to do
Right.
that. Okay, actually, tomorrow we're going to go for a bike ride because that's what's good for my family. And I might do a little bit of work. And it was like piece by piece. And then once you put all those pieces together, and then you kind of build momentum and you kind of get back up and rolling and go from there. So thank you so much.
100%. Yeah.
That's going to, yeah, help people, support people, and inspire people with the realness of what you went through. So,
Yeah. It hasn't been easy, but again, I think the take home message is whatever way in which you were coping,
yeah,
it's okay. Like, it's okay.
it's just,
You know,
yeah,
it's just okay.
okay. Well, actually, a really good friend of mine who Shannon. She sent me this article, and
I
she,
saw her yesterday.
yeah,
Hi,
yeah.
Shannon.
She's gonna be coming on here next. We're gonna be talking about kids stuff for people to do with their kids.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, because she is a master at that. If you guys
She
follow
is.
her on Instagram, dang, that is her area of brilliance. But yeah, and she sent me this really great article, and because I'm not like the artsy craftsy mom, like that's not me. I'm like, let's go for a bike ride, let's do all the things outside. Like, you want to sit down and do a craft? Where's grandma? Grandma's not here right now.
Right?
Yeah, where is
Oh, that's
grandma
me.
for the friggin' crafts? Not me.
Mhm.
So thankful for teachers. Okay, moving along.
So sorry.
um, but like, she sent this article, and it was all about getting to your destination. So and like, so it's like about a flight and how you get children to, like, you're going to go and do something really super cool, and you're going to be doing all these great activities, but you have to get there and you have to survive the plane ride, right? And if
Yeah,
anyone who's traveled with small children, you know what I'm talking about.
absolutely.
And sometimes, yeah, we're going to walk up and down the aisles, we're going to play the games, but sometimes you're going to turn on the iPad, and sometimes you're going to watch the show, and that's okay. And so I really love how you just talked about how, it is a balance right now, and everything, we always talk about everything in balance, movement in balance, but like from my side of things, from my work, nutrition in balance. And
Yeah.
I think that, if we can just, I hope this supports people and what they're going through. And
Yeah.
and just the realness of your story. And why don't you talk now about what you guys, so you're back open, your chiropractic, so and it's
Yeah.
called
Movement, evolution, health and
Movement
wellness.
Evolution.
Mhm.
Okay, so she has a
Yeah.
new company name, and they're working on their logo, so stay tuned for that.
Yes.
Um, and so can you, because you guys have a few different services. So she runs a CrossFit gym, which they're doing Zoom calls right now, correct?
Yes.
For your
So
members, but then you're also offering a few other services. So maybe you can talk about that.
yeah, so there's some crossover between the two businesses as always. I mean, um, so we have some online stuff coming for people like we talked about earlier. Maybe you are interested in movement exercise, but you don't know where to start. Maybe the gym has been really intimidating for you. You're not, you want to, but you have procrastinated signing up or inquiring because you're kind of afraid. Again, I think this time where we can do things from the comfort of people's homes
Mhm.
may be a little bit more comfortable for some. And if that's you, then we will do like an introduction to what CrossFit is and the CrossFit movements, but from your own home via Zoom. So we can do that at like PT, like personal training wise, or we can put you in small groups and just over the course of 3 weeks kind of thing, give you the basics, which like I said, I hear that a lot. People get a little bit intimidated about the word CrossFit. And I like to educate people that it's an exercise regime. And the majority of the people that I work with, anyways, are moms.
Yeah.
And they're doing it and they're loving it. And so I think, of course, I'm biased about it, but for me, it's movement. It's movement. I love the CrossFit movements, but I mean, I'm partial to the CrossFit community, right? So it's a
Absolutely.
great little community. So for those people who are intimidated or feeling a little bit apprehensive about getting started, we have something for you. Again, we talked a little bit previously about for those who have maybe suffered an injury and are trying to get back to some sort of exercise regime. We have some programming though. That's like a teamwork between Movement Evolution and the CrossFit gym because it's the programming that I'll put together
Mhm.
so that we make sure that you're rehabbing things properly and safely, but it doesn't have to be necessarily delivered by me because I'm teaching all my coaches how to deliver these programs. So
Yeah.
that's really exciting because it's like I can only see people face to face. I can only see so many people in a day. So if I can teach my coaches, we can see so many more people and get them doing really good rehab. So that's really exciting. And then number 3, in terms of like new programs that are coming, it's more of that goal specific personal training or small group. And
Yeah.
this can also be done online via Zoom or in a program. Um, but if you're that person that's like, I really want to get my first pull up, or we've got stuff for you. We've got stuff to work towards. I really want to learn how to do inversions. I really want to learn how to,
Mhm.
great. We've got stuff for you. So again, sort of a little bit of teamwork between Movement Evolution and Chestermere Lake CrossFit in terms of building the programs and that kind of stuff. But yeah.
That's amazing. Well, and we'll make sure that we will put all the links for Marla's Instagram page and their website will all be below. So you guys can check that out. And then if you have any questions, you can just message her. Also, so thank you so much for coming on today, Marla.
Thank
I think
you.
it's going to be really helpful for a lot of
We want
people.
to do this
And,
all the time. Can we do
pardon?
this all the time?
Yeah, absolutely. And we should, if you guys want us to go live sometimes and just talk about health and like fun topics, let us know.
That'd be
Send us
super
a
fun.
message and we can go live on Instagram and we can do that for you guys. And then what do you want to leave people with?
What do I want to leave people with?
Mhm.
Um, Take care of yourselves.
Mhm.
Like take honest to good care of yourself. This is There's so many things right now. There's so many things to talk about. I could just go on for hours, but I think there was a post going around throughout this pandemic that was like, if you don't come out of this pandemic, like learning how to play a new instrument or learning a new language, or no, if you did that,
Yeah, like if
high
you
five.
have
If
both
you,
incomes and you're not having to work and you don't have children, then like high five. But
if you
that's not everyone.
if you didn't do that and you have taken care of yourself, if you've made some changes, if you've made yourself a priority, if you can look up and read and educate about sleep and how important it is, and nutrition being the foundation of healthy lifestyle, and getting out and just moving your body. We're meant to move. If you did that, you're winning this game right now. So
Absolutely.
don't feel the pressure of the world that you had to do something spectacular and great, because the spectacular and great thing is making those changes to be healthy.
Yeah.
And if you need help with that,
Yeah.
you've got lots of help around you. We're here. We would love to help you. That's what we love to do.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know. Is that something good that I can leave you with?
Yeah, I think that's perfect because
If you've survived and so your children have survived,
like basically,
you've done
yeah,
it.
exactly. Do the best you can do every single day, and if your best is you went for a walk and you kept your kids alive, that is great.
Yep.
That is great.
Yep. And if you're homeschooling them and you did some schoolwork today,
Yep. Killed it.
If you didn't,
yeah, it's okay.
like,
yeah. Did you take them for a bike ride? Did you teach them a life skill? Awesome. Did they wash the dishes? Excellent.
Yeah. Like it, just enjoy it, embrace it, and don't feel the pressure that it has to be spectacular. It just has to be.
Yeah, because honestly, just like getting to the arriving at the other side of phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, that's the goal, right? So doing what we need to do at home to keep people safe, and then, just, arriving at our destination of whatever our new normal is going to look like.
Absolutely. Fantastic.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. It was so fun talking to you as always. And we're probably going to do another one of these. So let us know what you guys are interested in us having a conversation about, because we already have the conversations anyway. So we might as well do another one. And maybe we'll pop on Instagram Live if that's something that people are interested in. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we will talk to you soon.
Thanks, Julie.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.